Hello lovelies, how are we? I hope everyone's okay. Thank you for all your warm response to the month end podcast, much appreciated. It's been a quietish week until yesterday, which got busy in a very nice way. Unfortunately, because I couldn't go to... Sorry, Lesley, not quite enough introduction, clearly. Because I couldn't go to Unravelry on Sunday, didn't get to meet Bente from the Epilogue lady there, as we'd originally hoped. But she very kindly, with her husband, they gave up part of their holiday to meet me yesterday, which was really lovely to see them. So we met in Lewes, which is the county town of Sussex. It's just a couple of stops this way from Brighton, which is where they were headed. They were staying. And yeah, just... I mean, I didn't know kind of what they fancied. I had in mind a place that we could go and have some lunch. And Bente said they hadn't yet had a pub lunch. And she made a very good observation that if you're sitting in a pub, people tend not to be in a hurry to kind of move you on because they want someone else for the table. So we went for a pub lunch. The place we went, she was saying she'd not had yet a ploughman's, and for those who don't know, a ploughman's is bread, normally like a French bread or a big chunk of like a hearty bread, with cheese and pickles and sometimes an apple and sometimes some ham or something like that. She'd not had one of those yet, or a jacket potato. So we got to the pub, I went and got some drinks and picked up a menu. And I said, we may have to find somewhere else to eat because they didn't offer a ploughman's or a jacket potato. But they did offer fish and chips, which Bente also hadn't had. And her husband found something on the menu he liked. So we stayed there chatting for a few hours. It was great. Really lovely. So yes, lovely to see them. They're on their way. Well, they should be home by the time this vlog goes up. And hopefully they've made it home safely and comfortably. I'm sure you watch Bente, but if you don't, she's currently on quite the spinning kick, and she's running the stuff to fluff, no, other way around, fluff to stuff make along, the idea being that you spin yarn to make something, not just spinning for the sake of it, which is a temptation that I can understand, just to spin because it's fun. But as we're both keen spinners, she very kindly gave me some fluff. So her favourite fluff supplier is a Norwegian producer, Ulve, and you'll have to forgive my Norwegian pronunciations. This is Norsk Kvitsau, and this is Norwegian White Sheep, and you can see these lovely colours. She did look for neons because she knows me well, but there weren't neons, and she very kindly got me this braid, which is beautiful. And she also gave me this lovely Kardaflak, which is 70% Norsk Ull, Norwegian wool, and 30% silk, and it's a beautiful kind of seagrass, greeny blue, absolutely lovely. So thank you, Bente. It was so nice to spend time with you both, and these are fabulous colours. So thank you so much. I'll enjoy spinning them. So yeah, it was just a really nice way to spend the day. Work-wise, I've had a few calls, so I'm getting back into work. It's actually quite a gentle return to work in my line of business, because when I used to work in an office, if you weren't there for a couple of weeks, some of your stuff would be covered by others, but otherwise you'd come back to an in tray like that and an inbox like that, and you'd just have to sit and plough through. With conducting funerals, if I'm not there, someone else will do them, so there isn't that kind of build up, and so it's a sort of fairly gentle return to the day job. So that's happening. But apart from that, this weekend I'll tell you more about that when I record tomorrow, but this weekend I'm meeting some friends. It's places we've been to before. I will try and remember to take my camera. I forgot to take it with me yesterday, although I did have my camera, my phone even, at all times. So here's a photo of Bente and myself in the pub. Yeah, so away this weekend, somewhere we've been before, and looking forward to seeing those friends. So I will catch up a bit more tomorrow when I may be a little bit giddy and excited. Cheers. Hello lovelies. Hope everyone's okay. It's now Friday, so I better get this finished so I can post it. I've removed a box from the table of projects up in the office, and it contained some novelty yarn. I had a few boxes of different novelty yarns. This had a yellow fluffy yarn, so a kind of eyelashy, teddy bear-y sort of fluffy yarn, like a little cloud. And I also had 4 and a bit balls of this, which is called Rosette or Rossetti. Yep, it's got an eye on it, sorry, Rossetti. So it's a very sparkly, it's one of those yarns, it's a kind of chain construction. You can sort of undo it if you like, and it goes all floofy, not in a good way. But it's got a significant sparkly halo. And in my head I was calling these chocolate and banana because of the colour combo. And I was going to make a blanket, but then I remembered that I have a blanket which wasn't oversized. It was probably kind of 4 feet square, something like that. So it's kind of lap blanket sized. And it is made up of, as you can see, some floofy yarns. Not exclusively floofy. It started off as a square. Then I did like a 10 stitch blanket edge to it. That was all knitted, and then to use these eyelash yarns that I had at the time, I got a 6mm crochet hook and just picked up stitches, or crocheted into the body of the thing, and just went round and round till I ran out of yarn. So that's pretty much what I'm doing this time as well. I'll put a photograph here of the blanket folded up so you can get a sense of it. So I started off with the yellow, which in natural light is more of a greeny yellow than I realised. We're in some artificial light here. It's quite a cool yellow, I suppose, is what I'm saying. And I thought it would be warmer, but it doesn't matter. So I started off with that. Now, you will notice that I have just 1 row here and a few rows here. The blanket was square up until this point. If it's going to get bigger, it would be more practical to use as a more of a rectangular shape rather than just keep adding to the width, because we tend to sit, if we're using a blanket, we tend to sit just kind of with it over us rather than wrapped around us. So that's why I'm making this more rectangular. So I've done that at both ends. And now I'm going round with the brown. I started off just doing using the yarn single, but it felt much too thin. It's not ideal double. It's a bit too thick to have double and a bit too thin to have single, but it's closer to where I'd want it to be used double. So that's what I'm doing. So it'll only add a few rows to this, just another kind of inch or two, but rather than have a separate small blanket that may not be of use to anyone, this was already being used, I must admit, partly by the dog. It does sometimes live between the sofa and the dog, and it may well go back to being the dog's blanket, but it's had a good wash, and I'm adding this extra to it now. I'm just going to keep going until I can reach a corner before I run out. That's kind of the thought process there. So another kind of addition, like I did with the sweater, making the sleeves longer last month. Just a bit of an addition, but it seems the best way to use that yarn. I mean, this blanket works as a lap blanket, but it has always felt a little short. So to add to it is no bad thing from a general usage point of view, as well as being a good way to use yarn that doesn't go with everything. So, and it's also lovely and warm to work on. So I'm going to carry on with this, and it should be finished fairly shortly. I'm off to visit friends tomorrow, which I'm really looking forward to, so it'll be nice to see them and to catch up. And I will hopefully take a little bit of footage or a few photos or something. And I will see you next week. I hope that you all have a good week, whatever you're doing. Hope the weather is kind to you and that life is treating you well. So thanks again for everyone for being here, for all of your support, and I'll see you next Friday. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye-bye.